What is going on? Hey, it's me, your boy Sean Spencer, with my guy, Mr. Will Kramer. And Will, we won.
Got the
That
dub.
was the good part. That was the good part. Ladies and gentlemen, you saw us on here Sunday for the first ever Washington Football Weekly post game little show that we did. And we really kind of tried to break down just a little bit from what we saw, those first initial reactions. But now, having looked back, we got the win. That's the positive. You know what I mean? There was a lot to work through.
A lot of bad.
Yeah. And I don't want to get let's go into our keys of victory that we had a week ago. One of the things I said was we need to feed Terry. Let him be that dog. Now, he was that dog at moments, but it wasn't the 10 catch game, or he wasn't even the
stats are deceiving on him.
Yeah, he wasn't even the highest, had the most receptions or whatever. But it was when he had the receptions, when he made the plays, and just there's a certain dog in him now. You know what I mean? When he's catching it, like, we know about the bomb late in the game that set up the game-winning touchdown, but even on other plays, like this random the first down where he caught it, getting it, and then kind of jawing at people. And, we know Terry is a humble, nice, reserved dude.
Yeah.
Terry, something unleashed in Terry recently, and I'm excited about that. So get him going, and that's what happened. Overall, we got him going. And it showed up definitely late in the game when we needed it. So, yeah, what were one of your keys?
Sure, yeah. So the first one I had said was to feed our backs, okay? Because I didn't want Taylor Heineke to feel like he had to go win this game. So we tried.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah.
They did. Let's see what we got here. We had 20 yards and 19 yards between Gibson and Brian Robinson.
Yeah.
That's pathetic. We really struggled there. So, but the plan was there. I mean, they kept going back to it too. So they tried, but boy, did that not work against Indy.
Yeah, yeah. And along those lines, one of the things that I said helped with the run was motion kills. And again, a lot of it was us trying, and credit to their defense for being a legit defense, but we weren't able to really get the running game going. Now, Curtis Samuel was our leading running back with 29 yards, but and he was able to, get a couple here and there, but it wasn't to the level that it kind of really messed up the defense. Right. You know what I mean? Right. For the most part, they seemed like they kind of had us well scouted and had it down. And, we didn't help ourselves at certain times as well. So, but it was one of those things that I think if we keep doing it and keep dedicating to the run, sticking to that, we'll be good. But it didn't really show that well in this one.
Nope.
So what you got, man?
The other one I had was to basically make Sam Ehlinger beat us. Maybe have a spy in case you need to. And we didn't seem to have a spy too often. He really didn't do a whole lot of running, if I can remember, but we made him beat us. We basically said, like, okay, you're gonna have to go after this. And the Colts had just as conservative an offensive game plan for him as we did for Heineke.
Right.
I mean, it was not good football.
The mirror image, right?
It really was. They're both wearing 4. They're both, it's like it was not good.
That's why it was 17-16, Will. Like
exactly. Well, right. And so, that part works. Is we basically were like, okay, listen, you're going to have to beat us. He made a couple good throws. He had that deep pass to Alec Pierce down the way. He had that very nice ball to Nyheim Hines. But other than that, I mean, he did fine out there in his debut, but he wasn't anything special, and he didn't get to the point of torching us. I think that worked. They said, you're going to have to beat us. We're going to, and he didn't. Somehow he didn't. He should have.
Somehow. Right. We gave him chances. Definitely did that. And my last one was, like I've been saying all year, bend but don't break defense. And to be quite honest with you, we did that throughout most of the day. held them to 4 field goals, and three times, if I'm not mistaken, 3 separate times, they had it starting in our side of the field, had it from the 50 and closer, and a lot of them, they would have certain big plays. We talked about the 27-yard run with Jonathan Taylor. Paris Campbell got behind our corners a couple times, and they were getting close. But like we talked about on Sunday, there was a play where we had McCain hop up and shut down a run and have them lose yards and stop momentum. Jonathan Allen burst through and made a huge tackle and shut them down. And we're holding them to field goals. So in the first, coming out of the first half, it's 7-3, and then it's 7-6 going into the fourth. They get the
game.
Well, right. Well, I mean, exactly. We were mirror image of each other right now, all right? And then going into it, I mean, look, even when it was 9-7, it was still like they weren't getting anything done. It was our turnover that gave them the short field where former Colt Nyheim Hines scored. Yeah. Yes. Scores a touchdown on on Sunday, and then gets traded on Tuesday. Good gracious. Oh man. But bend but don't break. And at the end of the day, the defense they've been the solid force for us this year, and they really started to improve. You see certain things get better, and they did it this whole game without Cole Holcomb, which is huge if you know how well he's been playing the last couple weeks. So I was impressed by that, because of all the things that we have this year, that is the one thing from OTAs to mini camp, training camp, preseason, all the way through. We're going to have that bend but don't break defense, and that's what we've been doing. So,
I agree.
You got any more?
Nope, I got those 2 I've got written down.
That is good. What is going on, people? Nathan, Nicole, Andrew, appreciate you guys joining us. We are talking about our victory. We got the dub over the Colts 17-16. But ladies and gentlemen, we are realistic fans. We are realistic. And we are going to go ahead and we're going to move on. Now, we're going to try to. Should we start with positives? Because
we could do that.
It might be a tiny segment. It might be a tiny little segment.
I've got a decent list of positives, actually.
You've got a decent? Okay. I'm going to let you go. Take over this one, man, because I'm still bitter.
Okay. Well, I'll do this one, and I'm going to start with a little bit on the defense, a little bit what Nathan just said here about Jonathan Taylor. They did. Yes. So our defense, I don't want to repeat too much of what you said there, but the bend don't break was big. We prevented scores. We held them to field goals. We had 2 fumbles in the red zone. Yes. We have had a solid defense this season, but we have not generated turnovers. I was watching the clip of the Vikings game coming up there, and they said we are top 10 in sacks, top 5 in QB pressures, but we get no turnovers as a result of it. We don't get interceptions. Today on Sunday, we were able to get 2 fumbles, and they were key. They stopped big drives for them. Jamin Davis, you talked about Cole Holcomb being out. Jamin Davis came through. He gave up that catch to Hines. But on the very next play, where they settled down, he came flying through on 3rd down and made that tackle. That was huge. That was a read, react, and just go after it, show his athleticism. And that was a drive-saving, touchdown-saving, play that he made there. Yeah. We held Jonathan Taylor to 76 yards. We said, if you're going to beat us, this is how they beat people. Last year, this year is Jonathan Taylor. Now, he was banged up. He's got an ankle injury. He left for a little bit, so he was probably banged up even in the game. We gave up a total of 135 yards, which isn't great, amongst quarterbacks, and they had a couple wide receiver runs along with Nyheim Hines. But not letting Taylor consistently get to us and get chunk yardage on his runs was huge. Because we were able to say, okay, Ellinger, you're going to take what's underneath. And that's what he went after. He didn't really go downfield too often. So I actually thought the defense played, for a 3rd consecutive game, and even beyond that, even when we lost to Tennessee, that they are playing solid. They're not spectacular. They're not anything that we're going to sign up for fantasy football with or be proud of, but they're playing very solid ball right now.
Right. They did what they needed to do. He got Ellinger just over 200 yards. It's the epitome of average. You know what I mean? We stepped up when we needed to in the red zone. We gave up things here and there, but we didn't break down. We didn't, beat ourselves up. We kept playing. We had that short memory. I absolutely loved it. Yeah. Obviously, positive. We won on first down. That's huge, 20-15. But I don't know if you can really say that because nobody really wanted it. Like, it was, each team was kind of giving it up back and forth. Like, we weren't really dominating to get that first down marker, But the fact that we were able to hold them to 5 of 12 on third down was huge. You talked about, the play with Jamin Davis came through on that third down. There was at least 4 drives where we shut them down on third down and forced the field goal. That's the defense saying, offense, we know you're having problems. We know you're struggling. And what did I tell you? I told you on Sunday, it's going to take about 14 points to win this game. And ended up taking 17. But, but still, it wasn't going to take much. With the exception of the Nyheim Hines touchdown, they weren't doing anything that scared us. It's just that we couldn't get over the hump. No. But, we'll discuss that. But again, our defense continued. You talked about the fumbles. Our defense gave us the opportunity, and it did it in a consistent form. So, consistent fashion. So now we're more frustrated than worried. You know what I mean? That's a positive. You know what I mean? I'm going to be honest. When we came into the season, I was more worried than frustrated because I'm sitting here like, there was a couple against the Jaguars where they missed them. They just dropped. They just missed a couple. And then we saw what happened in Detroit. We saw what happened when these teams are starting to take advantage. And it was that anxious feeling like, oh, we got a touchdown. Okay, how long are we going to hold them until they score? Yeah. You know what I mean? And it was always kind of that feeling. This, and again, the competition wasn't, we're not playing, the Super Bowl, Rams of a year ago. We're playing a team they just benched their starter. Ellinger's in there, they got a banged up tail like you were talking about. But still, I felt the confidence, like our defense, somehow, some way, they're going to find a way to get it done. And that I absolutely, absolutely loved. Let's go to offense. What were some of your positives on offense?
Yeah. And Ben's got a good comment. I was just thinking that too. Yep. We feel the same way. They're giving us a chance, which is sometimes all you can ask for right now.
Yeah.
So I did see some good things on offense. All right. I'm going to start by praising it, but then when we get to the negatives, I'm going to bring this up. We had a conservative game plan out there, and I like the philosophy behind that. We did try and run the ball as much as we could and take the game out of Taylor's hands, not make him feel like he's got to play hero ball. So I like that. I liked our usage of Antonio Gibson for a second game in a row now. He had 14 overall touches. All right. It didn't do that well, in this game. His running really didn't get going, but he was a factor in the passing game. He had 7 catches, in the game. He had a touchdown, and we had 3 good drives on that game, which is really sad to say 3 good drives. But on the first one, he was all involved in it. Taylor kept looking downfield and going, okay, well, I'll give it to you because you're not covering you. And he would go 15 yards. And then it happened again, another 20 yards, And so they were using him as a weapon. So I like the fact that they're essentially saying, we're going to find ways to get you the ball, whether that's handing it off or throwing it to you. I'd like to see, 14 touches, is not too bad on there. So I think they're getting him involved in the game. We got 4th down conversions. Yeah. We needed those 4th down conversions, and we got it to the point where the next 2 guys I want to praise, well, you can't praise a whole lot on the offense for an entire game, but when it mattered, Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel were making big catches.
Huge
3rd down, 4th down catches to keep those last 2 drives going. When we needed our playmakers, at the very end, they showed up. And so that was what I was enjoying seeing, because there was a lot of bad in there, but those were some of the positives that I took away from the game.
Yeah. From the offense, for me, you kind of mentioned it earlier. Actually, when we were first talking about the keys to victory, one of your keys, commitment to the run, dedicated run. We talked about a week ago how we had over 30 carries. We had 28 carries in this game. Now, obviously, it just shows for 96 yards, and our 2 main running backs had 20 and 19 respectively.
Yeah.
But still, we're still getting yards. If 4 guys have 20 plus yards, okay, that means each one of them is doing something, but it also means that we're dedicating time to the run. Talking about time of possession, first downs, constantly moving on. Look, it was 7-3 in the first, and like you talked about, that first drive, that drive we scored early was solid, and a lot of it was struggle, but we had a lot in between. We were, like you're talking about, we're getting passes downfield. We're making nice catches. Things would just falter. We take an untimely sack or a penalty or turn or something like that. You know what I mean? But the fact that we're continuing to run the ball and not just stopping, go back to that Tennessee game where we had 10, 11 carries. You know what I mean? When Brian Robinson came back and Gibson, we weren't sure with, and we were passing. Now, Wentz had 359 yards or something like that. But in a game like that, where it's a one possession game, we need to be running the clock to keep them off, chewing the clock to keep them off the field. Yeah. So I loved that we definitely dedicated time to running the ball, continually running the ball, and even if it doesn't work. And that's the thing I think that we're starting to now rely on the run to the point where even if it's not going to work, we're not going to give up on it. Because there have been times when I feel like Scott Turner has been like, oh, okay, it's not, they keep jamming it up, so I'm just going to go try to chuck it up. And I think that's one of the issues that, we'll talk about this down the line, but that's one of the issues that I think Wentz had, because they weren't going to give it to the run. So they're just going to sit up and shotgun for the first 3 plays, and then we can't do that. Taylor, we know we have to run it, and his ability comes into place, which is the second part of what I'm going to say in the positive.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't look good for most of the game, and we'll definitely get into that. Don't believe me, Taylor. I got some choice words for you. But I can't call it, man. Will, I don't know what it is. He gets that moment when it's like, yeah, we need you. We need you right now. He just does some Houdini, like, now I'm here, now I'm not, scrambling, him getting out of the pocket, him just – it's you have this feeling like, oh my God, we need this. You're not doing anything. And then all of a sudden, like, he just a dime to Terry, hits Curtis Samuel jumping, catch a drop to the ground. It's like, wow.
Where has this been?
Right. It's like, damn good pass.
Yes.
Oh, and then 2 more incomplete passes, and then back to third down we go. Yeah. or fourth down in this game, and it's just like, it's good and bad. But at the same time, when it came down to it, when we needed it, and I talked to you about this Sunday, and I talked to you about this mid-game, there was a certain calm where it was like, he's got this. Mm-hmm. This is what he does. If he's going to come in and do it, he's going to do it at this particular point. Now, that complimentary football, the defense needed to make sure that the score wasn't out of reach for him to do it. And when he had it, we needed the drive to get the field goal, to get it within 1 score, and then we needed the drive for the touchdown. And he did it. And it didn't – the clock was winding down. 4th downs were coming up. There were times where, like I talked about, it looked like he was engulfed, and all of a sudden he gets out.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call that. Some call it moxie. Some call it that right now moment. Taylor, shout out to you, man, because he did it. He came alive at that particular point, and I was just sitting – part of me was like, yeah, it's great. This is a great win. I want to go on. And the other part of me is like, damn it, Will's going to bring out that shirt again. Hey, Nicky. Like, damn.
It's in the wash.
Else, man.
Dang it.
Oh, man.
You're right. Well, and even like that last play, when it happened, and, I even wrote to a couple people, and I said, oh, my gosh, he threw a prayer. It's like, actually, no, he didn't. He even said afterwards, the line gave him good protection. He realized he could back up a little bit and buy some more time. McLaurin wasn't his first look, but he looked over and he's like, I didn't like what I saw there. And then I saw Terry break, and he goes, and I threw it. And he's like, I figured I'm going to give this guy a one-on-one chance. And now I think if given the same situation, Carson Wentz probably throws that ball into the end zone and it's an easy touchdown because Terry broke on Gilmore. Yeah, he had 5 yards on him at one point. If Heineke got that ball further, it's an easy play, but ball died. So it wasn't as much of like a wing and a prayer type throw like we initially thought live, and as you're watching it. So there was something to it. It was. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there was some thinking there through it, but he just there's something magical about it when the game's on the line. My keys to victory for the Vikings, I'll spill it now. Heineke needs to turn the ball over early. Because once he throws a pick, that's when he changes. And he's finally like, all right, F it. We're going.
Right. I already messed up. We can't go much further there.
And he just like turns his whole game around once he throws one interception. So I'm like, we got to throw it early if you're going to throw the interception, like you did in Green Bay.
Exactly. Look, man, the guy is a dog, and that when we need him, the team rallies behind him, and he seems to get charged by it. So, hey, shout out to you. Glad we were able to get the W's. Will, do you have any more positives before we get to my favorite part of it?
Yeah, no. We can hit the negatives.
Yeah, let's go right into it. Negatives, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to start on third down. We were 2 of 12, ladies and gentlemen, 2 of 12. Now, Will, you did say we did good on fourth downs. You're absolutely right. We were 2 of 3 on fourth downs. But damn it, Will, I do not want to keep having to get the fourth downs. This is crazy. You know, everybody always talks about Ron and Ron this, Ron that. Stop making Ron have to be Riverboat Ron. Get the third down conversion so we could keep going. And a lot of it you can't control. We talked about on Sunday the one play where we had a draw to McKissick and runs, and it looks like there's a little lane, at least for enough for him to get the first down, and he slips.
Oh,
okay. It was one of those where you're just like, oh, come on, man. You know what I mean? But we had to get the fourth down, and when it's necessary, we do it. But still, man, we are killing ourselves. We are the reason we're in some of these situations. Dallas, it was penalties. And the last couple of weeks, third downs have been an issue, and we have to figure out a way. If we're going to sustain the winning streak or continue to actually win down the stretch, third downs, man, we have to stay on the field because the bend but don't break is great. We love it. But eventually it's going to get to the point where the dam is going to break and then the floodgates are going to open. We have to get our defense some time to rest on the sidelines and stop throwing them back out there after 3 or 6 plays. You know what I mean? Yep. We have to get off the field as defense. We have to stay on the field on offense is what I meant.
Yeah. So I want to go with that and kind of go on the theme of why are we having so much trouble on third down in this game. And it was because we had too many third and longs.
Yeah.
We were going 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12. That is not Heineke's strength. And so I actually, you were talking about feeding the run a lot. And I felt in this game, I'm critical of Scott Turner for sticking to that game plan for way too long. I like the philosophy. I want us to be, the ball control and not make Taylor think that he's got to win this game. He's got to be the man for us. But when it wasn't working, I felt we needed to come off of it quicker. You'd kind of mentioned sometimes that Scott will stick to it or jump off of it too early. I actually thought he stuck to it too long today. Yeah. He kept feeding deep into the third quarter. We kept feeding the handoffs and I felt like when he came out after the second half, we got the ball. We had a bad drive. After that next drive, if that didn't work, then I'm like, dude, you got to scrap this because you got to find ways to put your offense in better situations. The Indianapolis Colts defense is designed to do what we talked about with Ellinger. Take what they give you. They'll give you the underneath. They don't want to give anything deep, which is why on that first touchdown drive, we had so many passes to Gibson out of the backfield, and he took it. So we should have done a little bit more of that in there instead of on first down and second down running. And now we're 3rd and 8, because we haven't done it. On second down, we should have had some type of passing play. We should have had a shorter passing route or done something that gets our backs involved in the passing game instead of keep feeding the ball. Because like we said, Gibson and Robinson had 20 yards and 19 respectively. Heinicke and Samuel had 29 yards. Like we had almost like 28 handoffs for 96 yards. That ain't happening. That's not working. Yeah. So I wish we would have gone off of that much sooner than they did. And I fault Scott Turner on that, which you don't hear me say very often. So I am very critical of Scott Turner for sticking with that game plan for too long.
Huh. Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's clip that one. Can we just
Uh-huh.
pause the show and have that? Right.
Save that.
Right. Yo. For me, so I praise the defense. I was saying how great they were and everything like that. And again, it was a respectable 135 that we allowed them to run, but it was the splash plays. It was the splash runs. We talked about the 27-yarder that Taylor had. He had a couple where it was 8, 9, 10. When you're getting that where it's a second and short or first down immediate, that's keeping them on the field. Yeah. Paris Campbell had one of those kind of jet sweeps or one of those reverse around the head, like for 28 yards, similar to what we got burned with by Amon-Ra St. Brown in the Lions game.
Yes.
And it was extremely frustrating because even the announcer said, yes, this happened before. They were looking for this. We know it's coming. But I feel like that's one of those things where maybe you have Holcomb there. He would have, hey, go, called it out or something like that. But still, giving them those splashes around the corner, even though we eventually held up and kept them to a field goal, it's not helping because it's like we get to the point where we're like, all right, we're good. Oh, it doesn't matter if you get a sack on first down, shut them down on second, if you give up a third and long on a sweep or something like that. So a lot of those splash plays, Pierce had the 47-yarder. It's just like we've talked about it all season, and one of the reasons why is bend but don't break, because we do, like you said, we bend a whole heck of a lot. It gives them opportunities to get down the field before we finally get rigid and stingy and shut them down. So I guess I would like to see us more, let's focus on like coach, keep it in front of you, minimize those big gains and shut them down on third down. Now we were 5 of 12, but they were 5 of 12 on third downs. But some of those third downs that they were getting, it just was frustrating and it was keeping us on the field. And so that's one of the things I want. We got to stop, especially in the run game. We have to eliminate those chunk gains. We talked about it last year about getting gashed. It's one of those things that we had kind of started to at least maybe just from one guy. Like we had started to kind of halt in these last couple of games, but you have the play at the end of the Bears game. Montgomery gets a bunch, and then Fields runs all the way down the field on us. 100 from Derrick Henry a couple weeks back. A week ago, we had issues. It's just we got to get this thing under wraps because we got Philly, we got Dalvin Cook coming up this week, and then Dameon Pierce from Florida at Houston. He's not bad. He's no slouch. Atlanta with Cordero Patterson and Tyler Algier out of BYU. Like we're going to be facing some teams that like to run the ball and that have receivers that they want to do little reverses and things like that. And once people start looking on film and seeing that we're susceptible to that, they're going to run that all day on us. So we're going to have to nip that in the bud to kind of alleviate some of those longer drives that their teams are getting.
Yeah. So Ron mentioned that in his post-game presser. He was ticked off.
Yeah.
And he talked about those long runs. And he said he said, well, we had a couple plays where guys are doing their own thing. He goes, and that's crap. He goes, we're going to eliminate that. I'm going to show that on film, and we're going to get rid of this. Yeah. Well, the only thing that had me a little worried about that was this was some of the problems we had last year.
Yes.
Where they were talking about the defensive line and certain guys on there, mostly our two edges, kind of doing what they wanted to do and not they were supposed to do, and therefore they were opening up gaps that weren't supposed to be there. So to hear those words, I was like, oh no, here we go again.
Yeah. Right.
So let's see what happens, on Sunday to see if did they address it and do they get the team buying back into the concept of what they want them to be doing.
Yeah.
The other part that I thought we touched on this a little bit on Sunday though is our clock management. I get it at the end of the clock management at the end of halves is what I'm talking about. I totally get it in the first half. I do. Like we don't trust Taylor. We don't trust our offense. We don't want to do anything that gives them another chance to get the ball. But what I've kind of learned and watched with Ron is essentially, and it's just like not new school way of thinking, is he is going to wait until two things happen before he starts calling his timeouts. Until we get a first down until the time is below the 2-minute warning. But
Mhm.
everything else before that, he's willing to let that clock go. And it does. It drives me crazy to see
Oh
that
yeah.
stuff happening.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, like to me, like we talked about on Sunday, the minute McKissick went down at a minute 54, call timeout. All
Yeah.
right. Instead, we let the play go all the way down to the minute and 20s. We let 30 seconds run by. In the fourth
Absolutely.
quarter, went down 6 on your drive. And we were not at were we even at the 50 at that point? We were still on our side of the field. So, like,
Yeah.
there was just no urgency there. But, I don't know if Rod's ever going to get out of that, unless he gives that to somebody else who will think a little bit more new school. But that just seems to be his thing. It's the ball. You have to get to the 2-minute warning. And you have to get a first down before he's like, okay, we're going to get this drive going. I'll call timeout now.
And it shows in even the play calls. I remember that one that when you're talking about, we're back at about our 30, maybe 35, and he does a run play. And then still doesn't run. And then it's just like you're not even attempting to like throw. You're looking like, oh, there's 2 minutes left. Okay, we're going to go into the half as if it was 15 seconds on the clock. And it's like, dude, and I know you were. I was talking to you. I was yelling at the screen. I know my neighbors hate me because I was like, what are you doing? Like, why are you allowing all this time to elapse? Like, this is crazy. Like, it's like we're sitting here trying to bleed the damn clock. Like, okay, we're going to end the game. It's
That's
like,
exactly
why?
what they're doing, because they're like, well, we get the ball back after the half, so let's just not have anything negative happen. It's kind of playing scared.
It is. It is. It's playing not to lose as opposing to playing to win the game. And that to me is just I can't with that, man. It is so frustrating. Along those lines, and look, shout out to Taylor Heineke. He did. I mean, the numbers are inflated from the last couple drives, but he did end up having about 279 yards. That's great. Whatever. But But one of the things I talked about during the Carson Wentz time here, our punter had more yards than he did. Our punter had almost 300 yards. Tressway had 294 yards.
Well, when you're missing 10 of your tries on third down, that punter's going to get a lot of opportunities to kick.
Right. All I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, is you have a Pro Bowl. If we're voting Pro Bowl, you better put Tressway there and everybody else kick him to the curb, because Tress is getting the most action. Maybe other than, can't even say Detroit, because Detroit, outside of, once has been pretty much scoring. Like, we're getting the most, us in Houston, potentially, the punter for Houston, probably getting the most action all year. And it just is ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. I will say I love how everybody's so close to Tressway, though. You see everybody dapping Tressway up and coming up and saying what's good to him. I mean, if you're the best player on the team, I guess that's what they would do. I mean,
he's got such a personality. When he retires, he's going to be in sports media, and he gets a chance to be a star, because he's just fun. They have this. He does his own little show where he interviews the players, and I mean, he's just a fun guy to be around. So I'm not surprised that everyone loves him.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. Good old Tressway. Yeah, but still, and again, I'm not saying this isn't as much an indictment on Taylor Heineke as it is on our offense, and the fact that we're consistent, like you said, when you have 10 or more missed third downs, you're not getting off the field, or you have 10 times where you're having to punt. It's you. How are you expected to outgain your daggone punter? Your punter is having opportunities. And Tress is going to bomb it. So, I mean, that might inflate a little bit, but at the same time, it's just like, come on, guys. It's just not a good look.
Well, I got some bad news. I just went and looked to see if I could get a Tressway jersey on eBay, and there are none.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, who knows? Maybe Tressway would be my first Commander's jersey.
We're going to find one. I will get a Tressway Commander's
I'm going to wait, though, till after next year, just in case number 5 goes to Hendon Hooker. I just want to be careful here, just in case.
Oh, I like that.
Tress needs to get a new number.
Right. Oh, man. Look, so you got any more negatives, Will?
I don't. We've covered a lot of them. Oh, I guess my only negative was a little bit we talked about, where Heineke had 190 yards on 2 drives, the last 2 drives. It's like we got to have better than that. Can't have it.
So, yeah, that is what it is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into our game balls, ladies and gentlemen, and we have to go ahead and I'm going to go first because I talked about this. There was a point in this game where it was in question. We were driving down the field. We didn't know what was going to happen. I too saw the play, and you see Taylor scramble out a little bit. He runs over, and the replay shows. Did he do one of these, Will?
I don't know if he even had to. I'm not sure. I don't think he did.
I didn't look like he looked at him. I don't know if he did. Maybe he gave a little eye up, tell him to go deep. But then he chucks it up there. Okay? I didn't know this before the game, but ladies and gentlemen, Stephon Gilmore, the Corners' old cornerback, who was one of the top tier cornerbacks in the league, still highly touted, was playing for the Colts today, or for that on Sunday, and he was the one who was matched up on him. Like you said, Terry had some room, but the way that the ball died towards the goal line, Terry had to make a play. Any other time, I would have been like, oh, dang, I think they got it. Terry not only, because it was a 50-50 ball, Terry not only caught it up there, but then yanked it away from Stephon Gilmore. I mean, just give me that. And came down, and then this is where it's mixed emotion, then gets up, and he's, yeah. And I know that it was a timeout, and we stopped the clock, but then the helmet came off, and I'm like, because I watched the Panthers game too, I was like, put the helmet back on. Put the helmet back on. Like, we don't need a penalty right now.
Right.
But at the same time, you could see it. He said it. This is my city. Like, this is my. And it was just like, woo. It's like that time when you have that one guy that gets picked on all that time, and eventually he loses his mind and goes ballistic on folks. Like swinging and all this crazy. That's what he was like. He was sitting here like, dude, like almost like, y'all keep trying to doubt me. I'm about to show you what I'm going to do. Yes, 6 catches, over 100 yards. I'm not worried about that because that play alone, amongst other things, let's not forget how, the Titans game, he was one of the key cogs that drive us down that field in that last drive. Last week, it's same deal. Like, we're getting it. So he's kind of starting to separate himself and kind of demand that respect that we all know he should have been garnering from jump. You know what I mean? So he's got my game ball because he's being a leader. He's not leading silently. He's opening up his mouth and he's saying, "Follow me, hop on board because I'm taking us." And salute to you, my friend. I'm with that. What you got, Will?
There's only one offensive game ball that we can give out. And it goes to McLaurin. And just like you said, the evolution that he's made as a leader is almost as impressive now and helping us out as he is with what he does on the field, because he just does everything correct on the field. He doesn't make mistakes out there. And so the players are going to listen to him. They know, oh, he is better than me. He runs that route better than I do. And the fact that he's just, 2 weeks in a row now, we need a catch and he makes it. That's wide receiver 1 type stuff. So I'm absolutely going with him.
Oh yeah. Anton. What's going on, Anton? How you doing, buddy? Hailing the Washington fans. Yes, sir.
Right.
You said I have a negative. Where was it? Shot in the arm.
I think that's what we were kind of talking about, the fact that's what I was referring to, where we just kept feeding that conservative play calling of run, pass, run, pass.
No. Exactly. But and hey, to the game Paul point, to the shot in the arm point, none of us can deny that once those 2 drives started, that's where it was. Yeah. And look, what do they say? Great players don't always play great. They only play great when they have to. I'm not going to necessarily put great in front of Taylor's name, but I'll say a gamer comes alive when he needs to.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yep. Jack Del Rio deserves game ball. Hey, coaching. He is starting. They are feeding into what he's saying. Like, they're believing and they're getting it. And I'm loving that right now, man. We need that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Anton wanted to give the ball to Heineke as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he did. He when we needed the plays, he did it. Just took a whole lot of time. It took
Yes.
55 minutes for
Yes, it did.
before he
Yes,
got
it
it going.
did. It was not pretty at all.
No,
for
when
the
he threw that
55
pick with
minutes.
9 minutes left, I was like, oh, there it is. All
Oh, yeah.
right, well, we're done.
Oh, yeah. When it was what, 16-7? Once
Yeah.
they scored and it was 16-7, I was like, all right, cool. Well, it was good. Like, it was good.
I started texting conceding messages like, all right, we're 3-5, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, where do we go from here type thing?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. And and my thoughts about the show at that point compared to my thoughts when it ended, and I sent you the link like, let's go on. Let's go on
now.
right now. Completely different. Completely different.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yep, absolutely. I almost had a heart attack at the interception came. Yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah, no. So shout out to Terry McLaurin. Gets our game ball this week. Oh, man.
We got to do defensive game balls.
Oh, yes. Who do you have? I'll let you go first.
Well, I like what Nathan said there. Jamin Davis, you mentioned it. Cole Holcomb was out this week, so he was going to have to, step up, and he was not the play caller. Cam Curl was. But, he's missing his buddy there. Jamin Davis played well, and he is progressing. He's absolutely improving this season. So maybe he is that guy that Ron and Jack weren't wrong with that pick. It's just going to take him a little bit of time. I'm just going to go with our 2 stud D tackles because they're consistent every single week. They're making plays, getting pressure, making tackles in big moments. You mentioned Jonathan Allen knifing through and grabbing the running back and be like, and we're done here. We're off the field. Kick a field goal. It's just, and there are leaders, there are captains. It's one of those things right now where, like, in that game, our captains are what rose up and helped get us the victory. And that's what we need right now, because we're not playing collectively great as a team.
Yeah. My defensive game ball is going to go to the secondary, but more so with the tackling. We had moments, we didn't do it all the time, but 3 out of the 6, our top 6 tacklers were defenders. McCain, St. Juice, and Cam Curl. All 3 of those, well, 2 of the 3 we've known have definitely made huge strides this year. And McCain has been playing well as of late, and especially with how he's played on defense in that last game. But the fact that we are coming up, and a lot of times when you have your safeties and your corners as the leading tacklers on your team, that means they're getting deep on you. But the way we're playing, we're bringing up the Buffalo nickel. Cam Curl's coming up to the line. We've had Reeves or McCain come up and kind of shut down, not allow them to get the edge and kind of shut it down right there and get the tackle for a loss. So, for me, it's got to be secondary, and more specifically, it's secondary also with the fact that they had a couple chunk plays, but he only had 200 yards. So you have the 47-yarder by Pierce. Now he's down to 150. You know what I mean? A couple to the running backs, a couple here and there, and it's not that we did what we were supposed to do to him. You know what I mean? He looked respectable, but we essentially shut him down, and we allowed our defense to be able to come up and get some pressure and kind of not confuse him, Ellinger, but kind of just keep him and keep everything front, make sure we had it kind of locked down. And against bend but don't break, but a lot of that was with tackling. We had to get our tackles. We've had too many games of missed tackles. So having our secondary come up and play big, that was huge. That was huge for me. Yeah.
Anton's got an intro. That's a preview for what's coming up, Anton. Your second point is a preview for one of our segments coming up here.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, buddy. So there we go. Those are our game balls. I absolutely love it. So we will see what we do next week. But ladies and gentlemen, that's 3 in a row. Wait, get that. Okay, there you go.
Just like you said it. Just like
3 in a row, baby. 3 in a row. Woo! I want to find. I got to get that clip. 3, baby. I'm so excited. And we will see how it's going forward. Thanks for watching. If you like that clip, be sure to check out the other great content from the Let's Talk Football community. And as always, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when more great content like this becomes available.